America, where everyone has a voice, but too many fail to speak. Too many don't know the foundation of our nation, have never read the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or the Articles of Confederation, and fail to end up in a voting booth. It's time for change. Welcome to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin, a platform for young America to voice their ideals and have meaningful dialogue on politics, economics, and social issues. Connect at thevoiceofyoungamerica.org. Now, the host of the Voice of Young America, Justin Austin.
Welcome to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. Thank you guys for tuning in to another week. We always appreciate our listeners. So just first of all, thank you. And most importantly, all praise goes to TMH, the Most High. So let's get started today. The theme of today's show this week is triple-double. And if you guys aren't sports fans, basketball fans, you probably aren't aware of what a triple-double is. Is when you score more than, you get double digits in shooting, assists, blocks, steals, but 3 doubles in a certain category. And if we think about America, we used to be on a triple-double. We really hit it. If you look at politics, economics, socially, we were hitting double-digit numbers. And how do you quantify that? Well, let's start off with politics. How were we hitting double-digit numbers in politics? Well, first of all, that we made our faith a part of the politics, right? That was one of the biggest pieces. If you look at what it was when these good folks decided to come to America, one of the biggest things was to be able to practice their faith in the manner that they saw fit. And that was one of the biggest things. So that was incorporated in America. Any country, and I spoke about this last week, and I don't care if you think it's redundant, I can never get away from it. But any country that thinks that their trajectory is not linked to their service to the Creator is foolish. That was one of the things that America knew more so than anything, that they always wish providence would lead them in the way. If you study their writings, they always tell you providence, providence, providence. We want providence to direct our path. That's no longer what America's about. We don't want providence to direct our path. We want individuality to direct our path. We want earnings to direct our path. We want self-gratification to. We don't want these things. These are what they're doing. So let me take that back. It's not that we want. This is exactly what people are doing. One of the things that I run into is that people say they're not interested in politics. One of the reasons why I'm so interested in politics is because I read Plato's The Republic. When you hear these gentlemen talk about what politics is, it made me understand. Politics is not what Marco Rubio or Donald Trump or Nancy Pelosi does in Washington. That's not politics. Politics is creating the system of how people live within a society. If you have a home, you're into politics. If you have a trash can outside your home, you're into politics. Because who decides the measurements for your house or the requirements for your house? It's a political body who makes those decisions. If you drive a car, who do you think makes the requirements for how many miles per gallon or what type of gas or the airbags? That's politics. If you eat food, that's politics. Controls what the farmers produce, how much they get from the production. The government actually subsidizes farmers. They get paid directly from the government to make sure that regardless if they have a bad year or a good year, they're able to survive. It's all politics. So for you to say I'm not interested in politics is for you to say I am not really living, because you eat, you sleep in a house, you drive a car, you're into politics. You've been fooled if you think that you're outside of that realm. But let's get back to the triple-double. The reason that America was able to put up double-digit numbers in politics is because of the fact that the average citizen was aware of what was going on in Washington. Not only were they were aware of what was going on in the community, they were aware of what was going on in their state, and they were aware what was going on in Washington. their representatives were held accountable. Like if you went to Washington and you came back home with that tomfoolery, there was going to be a problem. Actually, you weren't going to go back to Washington. That's how we became great politically, because everybody in Washington knew. And let's give it some context. When I say that everyone in Washington knew, I'm talking about when you have the 13 colonies, right? And these guys are sending delegates to this. They're making up state delegations, and then they make up a delegation to go and speak in Congress and things of that nature. This was a privilege that the representatives held. It was a privilege. Man, it's not a privilege anymore in the eyes of politicians. It's a stepping stone for them to get closer to power. It's a stepping stone for them to get closer to money. It's a stepping stone for them to get closer to their own ambitions. But they don't see it as a privilege to represent. Now, when they talk to you, oh man, it's a privilege, it's an honor, but their actions aren't doing that. How did we put up double-digit numbers? Accountability. Values, shared values, the values of Delaware, the values of Massachusetts, the values of Rhode Island, those shared values of the people in those colonies were taken to Washington. That's not the case anymore. Bill Nelson doesn't go to Washington with your values. Marco Rubio doesn't go to Washington with your values. They don't. I don't care what anyone says. Show me what you do. Paul says, I will show you my faith by my works. And not to say that I'm going into heaven because I do certain things, but I will show you my faith by my works. I will show you how much I love America by what I do in Washington. Is that the case? Who's showing you how much they love America by what they do in Washington? We cannot put up double-digit numbers in politics without accountability and shared values. It's not possible. And then the people, if you think about it, will you say that Washington was more divided back then than it is now? Oh, of course, it was quite divided. You had people who wanted to set up another monarchy. They wanted George Washington to become king. You had some people who were afraid of the Union because they might have too much power and then states' rights won't be respected. So yes, there was division. So if there was division and they did have problems, how were they able to fight the revolution and come up with the Articles of Confederation, come up with the Declaration of Independence, to come up with the Constitution with all that division? Because it's shared values. The people who wanted a monarchy and the people who wanted democracy, they still held shared values. Those who wanted a federal government and those who wanted to stick to a state government, guess what they still had in common? Shared values. We don't have shared values in Washington today because you don't even know what these people stand for. I think about Harvard University. Man, if you look at what Harvard University is today, it's nothing like what it used to be. Harvard University was basically a seminary when you look at when it started. I think it was like 1789 or something like that. When you go back far enough to the beginnings of even Ivy League schools and colleges, most of them were putting out pastors. What does that tell you about America? We were a faith-filled country. This tomfoolery that goes on today, it's not a reflection of America. It's not a reflection of the Constitution or the Articles of Confederation. All those things that were the underlying and the foundation of it. What we have today is not a representation of that. That's why we're not putting up double-digit numbers in our political realm, and we won't. How can we get to a place where we can get back to getting triple doubles? That's the conversation. So let me give you that call to action that we need to get to those double-digit numbers, especially in politics. First, what we need to do is every single American needs to understand what the Declaration of Independence actually is. They should know what's actually contained in the Declaration of Independence. They should know what the Constitution is and the Bill of Rights is. Not like what's the definition, but what's actually inside of it. What happens when someone actually knows the foundation of America and that actually becomes something they're inspired by? The next step is for them to start holding people accountable, starting with themselves. So the call to action first is to understand your history. People think about, George Washington and that group of people that had slaves. They were bad guys and blah, blah, blah. Black people had slaves in Africa. Africans had slaves. When the tribes would conquer another tribe, you would become their slave, their indentured servant, however you want to put it. So let's not be too high and mighty and look down on the founding fathers, because these were great men. And they were great men because of their faith. Look at the slaves. How do you survive over 400 years of slavery? Faith. Values. What? Negro spirituals? If you actually pull up a Negro spiritual, look at the words that are in there. It's not a lot of words. They repeat a lot of the same thing because they had core values. They had core tenets that they will put into each song, and they would just constantly repeat those same things. If you listen to gospel music today, it's not a lot of difference in what they're putting. They repeat a lot of the same. Listen to Donnie McClurkin and Marvin Sapp. They repeat the same thing. Or listen to Christian, contemporary Christian. They repeat the same things over. Because all they want to do is talk about the value of Christ, the principles that come with Christ. It's the redundancy that builds up the faith. That's why you're constantly supposed to stay in the Word. Now, getting back to the call to action, every American is charged to understand what the Declaration of Independence is, what it means, what's inside of it. The Constitution, what it is, what it means, what's inside of it. The Articles of Confederation, what it is, what it means, all of that. How many Republicans who call themselves Republican have read the Republican Constitution? How many Republicans actually know when the Republican Constitution was written or when the Republican Party was actually formed? But you're a Republican, right? And the same thing for the Democrats. Who actually reads the Democratic Constitution that they put together back in the day? But you're a part of this party. People are making allegiances politically without understanding the foundation. And that's the problem. When you go to the voting booth, you're not going with values. You're not going with principles. You're not going with the Constitution. You're going with whoever had the best sound bites, who had the best negative ads. The call to action today is to start to understand the foundation of what makes America. Because once you understand these principles and these values, you can no longer be ignorant to who is actually leading you. And if you feel that if you feel like Donald Trump or Marco Rubio or Nancy Pelosi is not leading you, you're a fool, because they decide how you live your lives. You think that you live them based on what you want to do is liberty in America. When you became an American, whether you came out of the womb or you immigrated to this country, you have to give up so much of your freedoms to be able to enjoy the protection that comes with being an American. So you are being led, regardless of if you're acknowledging it or if you're not. The way we get back to double digits in our political realm is first to understand what is America. How was it formed? How was it built? Understand these things and then hold yourself accountable. Then hold those so-called leaders who call themselves politicians accountable. This is how we put those numbers back up. This is how we make America great again. This is the call to action. Check out the website, thevoiceofyoungamerica.org. Check out our Facebook. Check out our YouTube. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Twitter, The Voice of Young America, or The Voice of Tampa Bay. This is Justin Austin. We're about to shoot the commercial break. We appreciate you listening. The Voice of Young America will be back. And just know, call to action. Understand who you are.
You're listening to The Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin online at thevoiceofyoungamerica.org. The Voice of Young America on AM 860. The Answer.
Finding skilled and unskilled tradesmen can be a problem, whether it's temporary or long-term. Rose Employment Solutions handles all of your workers' comp needs while responsibly solving your staffing problems. You make the call, they do it all. 813-644-5037. And for the quality tradesmen in search of career growth, full-time hours, and multiple pay options, call Rose Employment Solutions, 813-644-5037. Learn more at rose-emp.com or just stop by their office, 1020 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa. I'm Justin Austin, host of The Voice of Young America. When it comes to complete auto repair and fast service, check out the pros at Auto Lens Center, 1308 East Bush Boulevard in Tampa, providing professional quality work on all American-made and foreign car models. Great pricing on complete auto repair services, oil changes, and brakes. Auto Lens Center at 1308 East Bush Boulevard, where experience and good service go a long way. Call 813-764-7891. That's 813-764-7891. Auto Land Center. I'm Justin Austin with The Voya. Do you like the vibe of downtown St. Pete? Wish that was in your neighborhood? Now it is. Check out Cafe 46 in North St. Pete. Great food, beer, and games with an artsy and vibrant atmosphere. Paintings from local artists. Grab morning breakfast, choose a sandwich off the lunch and dinner menu, or just have a drink and play some pool. Cafe 46, that's 6774 North 46th Avenue in St. Pete. Or check out cafeon46.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin by email, thevoyatampabay@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. And before we get into our economic piece, we're going to start off with the moment of truth. And the truth is, one of the worst things that's ever happened to America is mass media. It's 24-hour news cycles. This is the worst thing that's happened to America. You know why? People don't turn off the tube and tune in to the real life. People are so stuck in that square box that they actually don't actually step out of it. Even when they do, they really mentally don't even step out of it. Mass media has become a plague to values and principles. If you don't think so, step back and just step back. Okay, how about this? List your morals and values, then watch 24 hours of the news and tell me how they coincide. How about do this? Look at Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, MSN, Yahoo, Google. Look at all the news mediums that you have. And then see how much is just telling you about how bad the world is, and see which ones are actually informing you. Mass media is a manipulation tool. It's no longer about value and information. It's about manipulation based on agendas. That's the truth. Mass media is killing American values. Now, on to our economic piece. I was reading this book last night about valuation of companies, and the reason why I'm an avid reader. And when I was reading this book, the first thing they talk about in the first chapter is about adding value or increasing value in businesses. That's not the case anymore. If you look at what made America great economically, it was the value that businesses were trying to add to the country. J.D. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Mellon. Now, I'm not saying these guys were the best guys in the world, but look at what they added to America. They added value. They saw needs and they added value. That's why you were able to stir up millions of Americans to actually be a part of these huge projects. Because these projects, like building a railroad across America, That's something you want to be a part of, right? I would think so. When you look at the things that these guys were innovating, these were things that added value to the society. I mean, literally added so much value to America. Businesses today aren't adding value. They're adding distraction. They're adding wants. They're adding vice. How many companies sell vice? How many companies sell self-gratification? How many companies are actually putting value back into America? You think Facebook is putting value into America? You're a fool. You think Walmart's putting value into America? You're a fool. Why do you think when they go to other countries, they are so restricted? China is a communist country. I'm not a communist. I'm a Christian Republican. I'm going to put that out there. I believe in capitalism. But China's not completely communist. China is capitalistic too. Don't be fooled. Because I know sound bites tell you something about Xi. Don't believe all that. They're communists, but they're actually capitalists too at the same time. Don't be fooled. But one of the things I respect about China is your business better be within the realm of their values or you can't get in. Let me say that one more time. Your business has to be within the realm of their values or you can't do business there. Tell me what you can't sell in America. Don't worry, I'll wait. That's the point. We hold no one to values. We don't require businesses to add value. If you go into the African American community right now in St. Petersburg, in Tampa, in Sarasota, in Polk County, or any low socioeconomic area, you can enter into that community, start a business where it brings no value to the customers, but they're still able to set up. But if you go to one of those plush neighborhoods, I bet you better bring something of value or you can't get in. You know why? Because they ain't having it. But in the low socioeconomic, they just kind of roll over. You can just set up any shop that you want to. Why is there more liquor stores and corner stores in the low socioeconomic parts of town than there is in Bel Air Beach? Actually, let me ask you, if anyone went to Clearwater Beach right now and drove down the coast, how many liquor stores would you find on the beach? Which is interesting, right? Because people the tourism come out, but they don't have any liquor stores, really. What they do have, though, they have a bunch of bars. You can go spend your money and grow the economy. But so why is there so many liquor stores in poor neighborhoods? Because they're not trying to add value. Why do you think that Southside St. Pete has not grown just like downtown St. Pete? Tell me, when you speak to Mayor Rick, ask him, why does Southside St. Pete look the same that it did 10 years ago, but downtown is beautiful? Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll wait for his response. Oh, how about the black leaders, right, in Southside St. Pete that hoorah, you got the uhurus and all. Tell me why they're not requiring people to bring value if they're going to set up a business. But you can't go to these other neighborhoods and do the same thing. Just like you can't go to China and not add value to their country, but you can come to America and do it. But you wonder why we're not putting up double-digit numbers. You don't respect yourself enough to say, no, I will not allow that in my country. I won't allow that in my community. And I dang sure won't allow that in my home. You lack values. America lacks values. That's why we have pornography so legal. Tell me, how is that making us better? How does that add value to our country for people to go be able to look at homosexuality or even different sex? Having sex. It doesn't matter if you're gay or not. It's still pornography. It's still not adding value to our society. But who cares, right? Oh, okay. So we have a problem with obesity. Okay. But everything is set up for self-gratification. So tell me, how do you tackle obesity when all of our services are about self-gratification and convenience. You know what? I made a declaration to myself. It's a gas station about a half a mile down the street from my house. I usually drive my car there. I will no longer do that. I ride my bike or I'll walk. You know why? Because I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to put more fumes into the world just so I don't have to actually sweat. And you wonder why you got fat kids. Because your parents keep buying. Come on, man. Okay, let me tell you about America, right? Value, right? What we value, iPhones, right? Apple computers. Apple, the company, their biggest product is the iPhone. Not the computers, not the iPhone. That's the biggest thing. You know why? Because it gives people all the gadgets. They can do everything in their life right there on their phone. How many people you see that sit at a dinner table with their family and still on the phone? That's not adding value. Apple doesn't give a darn about adding value to America. They care about their quarterly earnings. And that's the crux of this whole point. American businesses stop adding value to America and they start worried about quarterly earnings. Turn on the financial news. It's always about what you have done this quarter. That's it. Not how much value. When have you ever heard of a value conversation in a financial news segment? Don't worry, I'll wait. I've never heard it. I listen to financial news every single morning for at least 30 minutes. I've never heard one time that, you know what, this company adds value to America. Money isn't value, you fools. Because you made more money this quarter, that means you made more money and America got worse. Who cares? I give a darn. Do you? I heard a motivational speaker say, people will upgrade their phones every single year, but they won't upgrade their lives. Your life looks exactly the same that it did in 2016, 2017, but your phone is upgraded, right? You got a newer car, you got a newer phone, but your values haven't upgraded. You're a joke. I bet you got a brand new computer, right? You got the latest iPad. You're a joke. How many parents allow new technology to enter into their home, but their kids' grades are worse than they were last year? Don't worry, I'll wait. Americans don't care about value. American businesses don't care about value. They know you don't care, so they're not going to sell you value. They're going to sell you convenience and gratification. That's what you're being sold. Tell me one product right now that's on the New York Stock Exchange right now that's adding value to America. And I'm pretty sure there are some, but I bet the overwhelming amount is not value. It's not. One of the things that I appreciate when I read my Bible is that it brings me humility and it sobers my mind to know that these men, the greatest men that ever lived, and I consider them to be, of course, Christ first, Paul, Peter, Moses, Abraham, they didn't have cars. They didn't have TVs. They didn't have radios, but they were great men who loved their families. We have everything that we need before we even touch anything else. We have everything that it says in the scriptures. We have been given everything that we need to live a full and holy life. We have everything. And look how we live. Not only have we, now this was back then, and he was saying that we have everything that we need to be successful in this life. Look at how much more so we have today, and we're worse off than we've ever been. No value. If you continue to shop with businesses that don't add value to America, we'll never hit double-digit numbers. Call to action right now. If a company does not produce value for Americans, stop. Stop. giving them your money. Just like in politics, to put up double-digit numbers, you have to see the value in your vote. To put up double-digit numbers in our economy and economics, we got to put value with our dollar. People are more worried about Donald Trump paying off a hooker or whatever she was than the fact that we're losing our values. Tell me today, when you turn on the news, who's talking about values and adding more value to America? No, they're talking about Stormy Daniels. Who cares about Stormy Daniels? Who cares about 100? I don't give a darn about Stormy Daniels. She's part of the problem. Kick her out of the country. That's what you need to do. You people are lost. The reason why Stormy Daniels is the number one story on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News, because you have no values. When you start to have values, you'll see that businesses will respond. Businesses have created what you are instead of you creating what businesses are. Wow, Justin, that's super deep. So I'll say it again. Businesses have started to create what you are instead of you creating what businesses should be. Yes, it's really deep. Think about it. You should be determining what businesses are in your community. We'll be back. We're going to commercial break. This is the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. I love you, people.
You're listening to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin online at thevoiceofyoungamerica.org. The Voice of Young America on AM 860. The Answer.
I'm Justin Austin with The Voya. Do you like the vibe of downtown St. Pete? Wish that was in your neighborhood? Now it is. Check out Cafe 46 in North St. Pete. Great food, beer, and games with an artsy and vibrant atmosphere. Paintings from local artists. Grab morning breakfast, choose a sandwich off the lunch and dinner menu, or just have a drink and play some pool. Cafe 46, that's 6774 North 46th Avenue in St. Pete. Or check out cafeon46.com.
Ladies of Tampa Bay, are you looking for a whole new hairstyle or just want to take your current look from good to glamorous? It's time to call Tiffany. Whether it's highlights, cut, color, curls, or a wedding or special occasion, Tiffany will make your mess a masterpiece. And don't worry, guys, she does men's cuts too. Tiffany's located in North St. Pete. For an appointment, click on tiffdoeshair.com. That's tiffdoeshair.com or call 727-280-3098. tiffdoeshair.com.
Finding skilled and unskilled tradesmen can be a problem, whether it's temporary or long-term. Rose Employment Solutions handles all of your workers' comp needs while responsibly solving your staffing problems. You make the call, they do it all. 813-644-5037. And for the quality tradesmen in search of career growth, full-time hours, and multiple pay options, call Rose Employment Solutions, 813-644-5037. Learn more at rose-emp.com or just stop by their office, 1020 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin by phone. Call 813-516-6851. 813-516-6851.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. We always appreciate you, folks. Man. Let's get into our next segment. We're talking about triple double. And let me emphasize this again. The way that this came to me, and I give credit to who I heard it from, which is Dr. Eric Thomas, and he said that, and he used the example, those who put up 30 points a night consistently or make it to the All-Star game, they get traded still. You put up 30 points a night on average, you still got traded. You made it to the All-Star game, still got traded. Who doesn't get traded? The guy who puts up 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists or 11 blocks. That guy never gets traded. Example, Tim Duncan. 4 championships, I believe. 4, maybe 5. 4 or 5 championships, triple-double every single season. That's the difference. So, of course, America won't get traded, but what will happen to America? It will be diminished if we don't consistently put up triple doubles. And where it counts most is in our society. We need to put up double-digit numbers in our society. So, Justin, tell me, when was there a time when we were putting up double-digit numbers? Wow, when we had half the churches that we have now, we were putting up double-digit numbers. When we had churches that didn't sell products, we were putting up double-digit numbers. When we had pastors that actually led the community, not just their church, we put up double-digit numbers. That's what we were doing, right? Oh, Justin, you're only talking about faith. You darn tootin', Fig Newton. What do you think? A society with no faith is a society that won't exist for very long. Come on. Let's be real. Providence decides what we will be. If you think about that long enough, it'll start to slap you in the face. In Psalms chapter 1, no, I'm sorry, let me take it back. In Proverbs chapter 1, it says, the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. I chewed on that for years, trying to understand it. When you understand that everything begins with He who created everything, wow, then you can start to understand. He says, seek after wisdom and understanding like it's gold and silver. Do you remember the gold rush? I mean, you guys are probably not old enough to actually living in it, but remember studying the gold rush, how people flocked from the east all the way to the west because they were chasing the treasures on the other side of America. How many people are chasing wisdom and understanding in that fashion? Oh, Justin, you sound old fashioned. You sound out of date. Maybe I am. But being out of date is what's keeping me pumping. So if it's not what you're about, that's cool. But that means you're about losing. Because if you're not seeking after God first, you're losing. If you're not seeking wisdom and understand, so how do we apply that to triple double in our society? Our society needs to understand that the only way to put up double digit numbers is to have shared values and faith. No house divided can stand. I said that last week. I'm going to say it again. Triple double. Put up double digit numbers in our society. What does that look like, Justin? Wow. Okay. Pornography is illegal. That's what it looks like. Let's see. Divorce. Numbers aren't 54%. Numbers probably like 13%. That's double digit numbers right there, buddy. Let's see. Oh, more kids graduating college. Triple double. More fathers at home. Triple double. If you look at those in prison, those on drugs, those that are homeless, most of them are fatherless. Oh, Justin, no, look at the numbers, man. America has never put up double digit numbers and had as many fathers missing in the home. America never had double digit numbers in society and had as many pastors committing crimes. Facts. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Don't listen to me. Go and check. Those who are hurting society, most likely fatherless home. Or if Papa was there, he was probably getting ran over by the woman. Or he probably was an alcoholic himself or an abuser. This is real talk. Numbers don't lie. We won't put up double digit numbers till we have fathers back in the home. We won't put up double digit numbers until we cut back on all these super fake churches and get back to a church being planted and rooted in the community. If you are driving from Tampa to St. Pete or St. Pete to Boondocks to go to a church, that's a problem. You should be able to go to the church in your community because that's how it happens. That's the way it works. A church is planted in a community and then it spreads itself out in that community till that community is so healthy, so holy. Boom, double digit numbers. That's the way it works, guys. That's the only way it works. No double digits without God. No double digits without values. No double digits without principles. No double digits ever without fathers. Those who don't have good fathers or fathers in their life, period, drugs, divorce, jail, death, homeless. Example, 93% of foster care kids will not graduate from college. Fatherless homes. Over 60% of, I want to say 60, over 60% of foster kids mostly end up homeless or in jail. Fatherless. Numbers don't lie. Education. Whoo, man. Why do you think a kid can't read in 4th grade? Fatherless. Why a kid can't graduate high school? Fatherless. This is real talk. Oh, okay. So if you turn on CNN today, they're going to tell you that Stormy Daniels got a $130,000 payment from Cohen, who's Trump's lawyer. But they're not telling you that kids are dying on the street because they have no fathers. Okay, and here I go. And people might not like me for this, but I'm going to go and say it. Bridgepoint, right? Bridgepoint's a church in St. Pete. They got like 15 different services on Sunday. They got a couple different sites. I went in there and I was almost sick. Well, why are you sick, Justin? Because they were trying to sell me stuff, first of all. And I never will ever go to a church that tries to sell me anything. That's disgusting to me. Second of all, it's like a freaking show. It's like going to see an Eminem concert or something. You got bright lights. It's dim and dark. You got bright lights going around. That stuff, that's a show. Tell me that Paul would walk into Bridgepoint with all that crap going on and be like, dang, you know what? This was what Christ was about. No. If Paul won't go to your church, I won't either. And Justin, well, you're being self-righteous. No, I'm not. I'm so in love with Jesus that I literally want my life and everything that I do to emulate who he is. Is that wrong? Is that being self-righteous? Maybe. Not. Come on, guys. Come on. How about this, right? Look at all those mega churches. How many homes can you actually go into that attend these mega churches and they actually live like Christ would have them to do? How many people going to those mega churches are facing separation, facing divorce, kids on drugs, not graduating high school? How many parents sitting in Bridgepoint each week don't spend time with their kids enough to make sure that they can read very well, or they can be economic lions? Oh, Johnny, don't work as hard as I did. You might end up successful. That's what we teach our kids. Places like Bridgepoint, and I say this and I hope you're listening. I hope the pastor's listening, because I seriously, I had to talk to his deacon and I told him that watered down stuff you're serving the congregation makes me sick. It makes me want to throw up. Stop trying to make people feel good. That's not what Christ did. Christ never walked the streets and said, feel good. No. John the Baptist never told you to feel good. Paul never told you to feel. Peter, man, where you get this stuff from? Timothy didn't preach that. James didn't preach that. So why are pastors preaching feel good messages and wonder why their congregants aren't changing? We have more churches than we've ever had, and we have more divorces than we've ever had. We have more churches than we've ever had, and we have more kids not graduating than we ever had. Numbers don't lie. More churches, less faith, more feel-good messages. So, call to action. Boycott Bridgepoint and any other church that gives feel-good messages. Boycott any church that tries to sell you the gospel. And you know what I mean. If you're going to sell me a disc, you better sell it at cost. If you're trying to make money off me, it's going to take the grace of God, not for me to put a whooping on you, all right? Because that's disgusting to me. Christ went into the temple and flipped the tables and said, get out my Father's house. What's wrong with you? Tell me, why aren't we doing that today? Who's ready to flip the tables at Bridgepoint? Who's ready to flip the tables at Calvary Chapel? I'm calling everybody out. Take that back. Forgive me, Lord. The Lord put it on me to start a fellowship among men because he knew that I was holding the church up to the light of Christ, and it just didn't work out. Now, maybe there's a church out there for me, and I hope I find it, but I'd rather just start my own, to be completely honest. And I'm not a pastor. I don't want to be a pastor. That's not what I'm about. But I'd rather be somewhere where there's nothing but Christ. No selling, no feel-good messages, none of that. So if we want to get to a triple-double in our society, rid ourselves of the fake churches. First thing we need to do. And then really, really understand no fathers means no triple-double. No fathers means America can't be great. If a woman tells you she doesn't need a man, that woman is not of God. And let me emphasize that. Any woman who says she does not need a man does not know Jesus Christ. Because what did Jesus Christ say? He says, above man is God. Above woman is man. He says that a man should love his wife like Jesus loved the church. He should lead his family. Any woman who is in love with Jesus Christ will never, ever say, I don't need a man. That's what's killing America. If you want to be honest, the worst thing that happened to America was the 1960s. It was. Martin Luther King died. Malcolm X got shot. Kennedy got shot. Black community went in the trash can. Women's liberation, white community went in the trash can. Real talk. Let's call it out. The worst thing that happened to America was the decades of the 1960s. Black people lost their leaders and start following chumps like Al Sharpton. We had less money then and more faith. Now we have more money, no faith, more broken homes. 68% no dads. White community, it went from about 20%. I think now it's at like 34 or 45%. No fathers. Dudes are there beating them up or drinking too much. The worst thing that happened to America was 1960s. Women talking about, I want liberation. Liberation from what? From leadership? You want to be liberated from vision? You're a fool. And anyone teaching their daughters they don't need a man, you are the devil. That's the God honest truth. If you tell your daughter she doesn't need a man, you're the devil. And if you're a man and you say you don't want to take care of your kids, you're the devil too. If you're a pastor sending feel-good messages, you're the devil too. I'm calling them all out. Call to action right now. Get some values, get a vision, get some God. This is real, people. We are dying. Not just physically, but spiritually, mentally. Economic lions, triple-double. Political accountability, triple-double. Faith in homes, triple-double. Faith in community, triple-double. Fathers at home leading, triple-double. Don't be a loser. Don't be a loser, America. Stop allowing companies to sell you anything, politicians to sell you anything, people to tell you don't need a man. This is Justin Austin, the voice of Young America. We'll be back next week. God bless you. Get some values.
You've been listening to The Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. The Voice of Young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, online at thevoiceofyoungamerica.org. Email thevoyatampabay@gmail.com. And be sure to join us next Saturday evening at 6 for the Voice of Young America here on AM 860. The Answer.